Hey guys, what's going on? So we're taking another trip to RU Game in Tampa, Florida. I'm gonna pick up some good stuff this time. Last time, I really liked what I got. I got a few Genesis games. They're all like under $10. It was crazy cheap. I think it was like 8 something. So this time I'm going to get some other things. I'm gonna do some good shopping. I'm gonna pick something up really nice. And I'm gonna show you guys all around the store, everything that they have. You know, they got games, figurines, things like that, a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna try and cover as much as I can at the store. It's gonna take me a while to get there. About an hour and a half. It's 100 miles away, but it's worth it because that store is awesome. First, I gotta fuel it with some breakfast, so we're over at Wendy's. If you saw my YouTube story, you see how much I enjoyed the Wendy's breakfast. It was great. So we're gonna start off with that, and then we're gonna hit the road. The classic sausage, egg and cheese sandwich combo.
Alright, anything else for you?
No thank you.
$6.95. Second one, thank you.
Okay. Appreciate you too. Didn't seem very thrilled to be working today. Now we just gotta get on the highway. And that'll be it. It's just a one long stretch to the store. Alright, and we are on our way. I'm gonna start digging in. I'm gonna throw some tunes on because we have a bit of a drive ahead of us. Just checking in with you guys. So far the trip is going pretty good. You can see it's a bit overcast out. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit. It's only 68 outside. Not hot at all. It's only a little after 10, so we still have a pretty long way to go. We should get there, I don't know, hopefully about an hour. We'll see. I'll check in with you guys again. That didn't take too long at all. It's about 11 o'clock. The store should just be opening up right now. I got like 3 miles left on the freeway. We're gonna get off, and then it's just a straight shot on whatever road I'm getting off on to the store. We made it, so I'm excited to head inside. I want to take a look at everything and buy some games and maybe other things. Don't know yet. Alright, so I don't know where to start. There's a lot of store to cover. So I think we're just gonna start backwards. Let's look at the more modern stuff. Then we'll work our way back to the things that I'm actually really interested in, like the older 8-bit, 16-bit Genesis type stuff. But first, we have our friend over here, Mr. Halo Man. I'm not that old, I know what his name is. Master Chef. They have a nice selection of PS4 games here. Now, I don't have a PS4, but there have been a couple games I was interested in for the system, such as Darksiders 2 here, which I think also came out on PS3. Another game I wanted on the PS4 was Nier Automata, but I was able to get that on my PC. It does have the later Resident Evil games on here, though, like Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. Here's a pretty interesting one. I'm a big fan of the Warriors series. I don't think I ever told you guys, so I'm kind of interested in this one. And here it is, Bloodborne, the most wanted game of mine for the PS4 that you can't play on any other system. And I have played some of the other Souls games. Well, I played Demon Souls. I'd probably put hours and hours into that game. Haven't played any of the Dark Souls games yet. I do have those. We may do that on stream, but really interested in Bloodborne. Okay. And here we have the Xbox One section. This is probably the system I know the least amount of. The only Xbox system, or Microsoft system I guess I should say, was the original Xbox, and I didn't have that for very long. I got it used. I got a few games for it, like the Outlaw Golf and volleyball games, stuff like that. But really the only reason I could think of that somebody would want to get an Xbox system, Xbox One, or any of the other ones, are for the first party titles like the Halos and I think Gears of War. I don't know what else they have that are first party games for the system to really pull anybody in that you can't play on like your PC. Xbox 360 games, if you're a fan of the last generation of consoles, this is a good one to collect for. But look at all of these Assassin's Creed titles. I think they're all here. This is amazing. If you're a fan of Assassin's Creed and 360, you know where to get your games. They also sell various controllers for the 360, as well as other cords and things you may need, like a hard drive enclosure. And here's some HD component cables. I didn't know you could use component cables on the system. I just figured HDMI would work the best, as well as many various headsets. Also, there's a couple swords right above these accessories. I wonder what they're all about. Also, the Rock'em Sock'em robots are hanging out by the 360 stuff. Gene Simmons also makes an appearance, as well as Cyclops, but I don't recognize this outfit. I don't know what kind of Cyclops this is or where he comes from. And we have Deadpool and a couple Fallout figures over here, and right below them are drinks in case you get thirsty. But be careful of Darth Vader, who is guarding the drinks vigilantly. A large selection of Wii and some Wii U games. I have never actually played a Wii U. I don't think I've even seen one in person. I am familiar with this game though. This is Bayonetta 2, which initially was supposed to be an exclusive to the Wii U, but that ended up getting released on other systems. Right next to it is Breath of the Wild, which a lot of people say is one of the greatest Zelda games ever made. And Mighty No. 9, which was a commercial flop, is only being sold for $5. That's incredible. I thought this said Tekken Tag Tournament, which obviously is incorrect. I have no idea what this is. If you're looking for Wii games, look no further. There are stacks and stacks of these things available. Nintendo would really approve. Like, it seemed like anybody who wanted to make a Wii game to make one, so there are a lot of them available. If you're into wrestling or wrestling figurines, they also have a lot of them available to purchase as well. They are highly sought after. That's why they are behind the glass, out of reach from everyone. At the bottom here, it appears there was a mosh pit gone wrong. A moment of silence for these brave warriors. Some more figures over here. I don't know who this guy is, but he looks really cool. And I found a tiny Zangief. My personal favorite figure that I saw was the Big Daddy from the BioShock series. Here's the Spawn Alley action playset, complete with the Ace Garage. Okay, now this is really awesome. Who remembers Mighty Max? Because this is a large Mighty Max tower given away by the double M on the front. Really cool. Just a few Nintendo Switch games, not too many at all. They did have Disgaea 5, which I didn't know they made that many Disgaea games, but it is a really good series if you're into strategy games. A lot of PS3 games to choose from, to include many Assassin's Creed games once again. Also, there appear to be the Elder Scrolls games available as well. Here's Diablo 3. I always wanted to get into the Diablo series, but never did. But this is priced really well. I may pick this up for PS3. If you're into quirky Japanese games, I mean, you can't go wrong with the Katamari Damacy series. This is Katamari Forever for the PS3, a game I have not played, but I did play 2 of them for the PS2. Here it is, BioShock, one of the greatest games on the system in my opinion, brought to you by the guys that did System Shock 1 and 2 for the PC. Such a great game, some of the best atmosphere you will ever find. And right next to it was BioShock Infinite. I have not played this yet, I really want to. Apparently this has won over 80 awards. I guess that's pretty good. If you happen to be one of the 5 people who bought a PlayStation Vita, they have you covered. You got the Mortal Kombat we just looked at. Here's an Uncharted game. Looks really nice. The video was a pretty good system. It just didn't do very well. If you're big into movies, they have a few Blu-rays here to select from, as well as many DVDs. If you're the type to collect these type of things, you may want to stop in and see if they have something maybe you've been looking for a while that you haven't been able to find anywhere else. Big selection here. Two things I really enjoy: the Fallout series and playing chess. You can enjoy both at the same time with this Fallout chess set. I love the Fallout aesthetic. The whole thing about it is just really appealing to me, and now you can play chess. GameCube games. It looks like some of these have custom covers on the boxes, which is okay with me. I'd rather have something instead of nothing. And of course, what do I go for? The old collections. I just can't keep my hands off these kind of games. I love the collections. They had many third-party GameCube controllers available in all varieties of colors. Pick your favorite. They also had this 4-port controller adapter that you can use your GameCube controllers apparently on your Switch, Wii U, or PC. Here's what they got for the Nintendo 3DS. I have a 2DS that was a hand-me-down from my daughter, which I enjoy very much. And here are the Nintendo DS games. I really love the Nintendo DS. I think it's a great handheld system. It's a really good follow-up to the Game Boy. And they came out with so many games, thousands of games just in North America. So imagine what they have worldwide, especially in Japan. Thousands. The Air Hogs Star Wars Imperial Aerotech Speeder Bike. Here's some of those Funko Pop dolls. You got Black Panther versus Monster Hunter, Mega Man versus Rocket. Kind of a weird matchup there. Creepy Five Nights at Freddy's figurine set. And another chess set. This time it is from the Destiny series. Played a little bit of it, not too much. Much more interested in Fallout. They've got Princess Leia on a speeder bike, as well as a bunch of other Star Wars figures for all of you Star Wars fans out there. Did not expect Alien vs. Predator clue. I mean, it should be easier to solve that mystery.
So you doing a show, man, or you just filming everything in the store?
No, I do a YouTube thing. So many Xbox games. If you still have your original Xbox, I mean, you have your pick of pretty much any game you want. They sell really good right now, along with PS2 games. And if there's any games that you missed growing up or in your teen years or whatever age, now is the time to pick these up because they could increase in value over time. So right now, you should look into Xbox games. I found a Hylian shield being guarded by the Super Friends. And of course, once again, we have Deadpool making another appearance. And what is that? Is that like a Deadpool ambulance? Tons and tons of comic books for you guys. DC, Marvel, anything you want. Well, I don't know about anything. I don't collect comic books. I've never even read one. There was one guy that came in who had just bought a $700 comic book. Not from this store, but he was a huge collector. And the various systems such as the Atari 2600 right there. I believe these are Xbox 360s. Original Nintendo, Sega Genesis, N64, SNES, top loader Nintendos. There's a Sega Dreamcast. And probably my favorite system, this whole section is full of PS2 games. I was taken aback. Here's a game I always wanted for the PS2, Flipnic Ultimate Pinball. Pinball games are some of my favorite games to play, even in video form, and this one is very different from the others. You see, here's another one, Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection. I just can't not look at pinball games when I see them. They also had a bunch of PS1 controllers here. There's a GunCon 2 light gun, PS1 multi-tap, and some really good PS2 controller selections if you need an upgrade like I do. Mine are looking pretty rough. Some more accessories and controllers for PS2 and the PS3, and wait a minute, what is that up there? You're in the wrong area, buddy. It's time to move along. They did have a couple clone consoles like the Retro Duo and the Super Retro Trio by Retrobit. And this Generations console, which apparently has 90 arcade retro games. Lots of Retrobit controllers here for N64, Nintendo, and even the Atari 2600. Now here's what I came to see. Here's some Sega Genesis games. They have a lot to choose from. And yes, this is Shaq Fu. I like this game. Come at me. There's a small selection of Japanese Mega Drive games as well. Like this one. I have no idea what it is. Maybe Strategy Warfare. They also had Clax. No Idea, Populous, and Advanced Something. There's another Revolution X. It seemed like they had a lot of games in the box as well. A lot more than the last time I came there. At least it feels that way. And these are nice boxes too. The Genesis boxes are always been really sturdy and really good at protecting your games. Hey, I don't want to hear it. Let me enjoy myself. I like my pinball games. Here's a 32X game in the box, Motocross Championship. And a few Master System games right next to it. Pro Wrestling, Global Defense, Missile Defense. Nintendo games. Oh, this is what brings me back every time. I can look at all the games in this store, but for some reason the original NES games are what hit me every single time in my nostalgia bone. And they have so many to choose from and at really good prices. Here's RoboCop. This is the second game I ever beat on the Nintendo. I don't remember how old I was. Ooh, here's Legacy of the Wizard, a game I've been looking for, but what is that on the cover? Mr. Allen, be respectful of the other people who want your game. Super Nintendo games, they all look great. And here's Killer Instinct, a fighting game I'm actually not too bad at. But yeah, they have a ton of games to pick from. Let me just straighten this out real quick. There we go, much better. And just like the Japanese Mega Drive games, we also have some Super Famicom games. Mostly sports games, and whatever this parlor game is keeps showing up over and over. I kind of want to see what that one's all about. Another Japanese Populous. Whoops, don't worry, I'll straighten everything out when I'm done. See? They also have an N64 section. These games look really nice. They look in very good condition. Ooh, Blitz. That Army Man game in the back with the green cartridge stands out. So lots of sports games, wrestling games, tons to pick from if you're into those types of games. They even have a few N64 games in Japanese, but what's that next to them? Famicom games. I've always wanted to look at Famicom games. They're so colorful. They do keep their premium items behind the glass near the desk. These are a little bit more expensive, like these. You've got Secret of Mana, Super Mario RPG, and Gradius all in the box. I see Final Fantasy II for Super Nintendo, Super Metroid, F-Zero, and Star Fox. Here's a Bomber Mario. I've never heard of it, so it's probably pretty rare. Premium NES games, Zelda 1 and 2, Metroid, you got a Zelda in the box, Final Fantasy in the box, Contra and River City Ransom both in the box as well, Fester's Quest, and then you have a box full of Nintendo DS games, Sega Game Gear games, didn't play a lot of Game Gear games, but there's a lot to pick from. You have Game Boy Advance games, like I mentioned, they came out with a ton of these, and they have a bunch here too. And my personal favorite, the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, I can't wait to go through all these and pick some of them up. And a ton of Lego figures. I'm sure these are important to a lot of people. I'm looking at you, Wes. Come down to Florida. Take a look at this. And a few handheld systems. NDS, PSP. Oh, I can't wait to get home and show you guys what I got. But, gotta get there first. So, we're gonna drive home. I gotta pick up the kids. I actually gotta get gas. Oops. Once again, I mean, their customer service is amazing. We were talking about so many things. It was just a lot of fun. But I need to get on the road so I can get home. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Hello everybody, it's been several days later now, but I'm finally ready to show you what I got from RU Games. whole bunch of things, and it's not just games this time. So the first thing is a original Sega Genesis controller. I really wanted to pick one of these up to use on my Sega Genesis flashback by @games and to have a more authentic feel when I'm testing out my Genesis games that I'm sure I'll be getting more of in the future. And this thing is in great condition. I mean, it doesn't look like brand new, but it is extremely clean. It looks almost brand new, minus like a couple tiny scuffs, but man, I mean, you can tell this controller was taken care of. To go along with the controller, I picked up one Sega Genesis game, Shadow of the Beast. So this is an interesting game. I hadn't heard of it prior to like 2 years ago when I was doing Amiga testing on the SNES Classic. So I played the Amiga version, and it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. You'll see a little bit of gameplay in a minute when I go to test it out. But something about it was just really appealing to me, like the weird art style and the simplistic nature of the game. You're just running and attacking, and pretty much that's it. But when I saw it, I wanted to pick it up because I was really interested in this game on the Amiga. So we have Shadow of the Beast. We'll test that out in a minute, but we have other things to look at first, such as a Super Nintendo controller. Once again, in really good condition. The start and select buttons look like they're a little worn out, but besides that, it looks great. So why pick up a Super Nintendo controller when I don't have a Super Nintendo? Well, I did get a Super Nintendo game. We got Warlock. Funny story about this game, I've never played it, but back when I used to collect gaming magazines, this was featured in a lot of magazines, and it looked really interesting to me. It looked like you had a lot of spells, you fought with an orb, and the graphics looked nice, but I've never played it. But I do follow a YouTuber called Mike Mnemonic who has done a few episodes of a Let's Play on this game, and he never finished it. And the game looks so nice that I thought, you know, I could finish it myself, even if it's from these guys. So we have a new Genesis game, a new Super Nintendo game. You can probably guess what's next. Original Nintendo controller. A little rough around the edges, but again, these things are almost 40 years old. It's kind of hard to find any in perfect condition, but this looks like it's going to work just fine. And this feels just as solid as it did when I played it back in the 80s. This is crazy. It feels really good. And last but not least, to go along with that controller, we have a complete in-box Time Lord. I don't know if this game gets a bad rap or what, but I really like this game. My friend had it when we were growing up and we would play it all the time. It's really hard. It's not an easy game at all, but a lot of Nintendo games were easy to begin with. But the soundtrack on this game, the song I use in my intro, comes from this game. But it was priced really good for being a complete set. There's a little bit of wear on the box, but overall it looks really nice, and I'm really happy that I got this game. This is actually one of my favorite games on the system, and I got it for a really good deal. 3 controllers and 3 games, got a really good deal on everything. They always have specials over there, buy 2, use, get 1 for free. And I do believe they have some kind of subscription service you can sign up for like $5. I'm not sure if they still have that. I'll have to double check for you guys. And the atmosphere was awesome. We had people coming in throughout the time I was there, and I was chatting up with them. We were talking games. It was really fun. So it's time to test out Shadow of the Beast once again. We're doing it on the Genesis Flashback. We're going to be recording with my camera behind me, facing the monitor over here. All right, I think everything is synced up, so let's turn this on. Starting up. Loading the cartridge. There it is, Shadow of the Beast. Start it up. We got the background. EA. Developed by Psygnosis. Oh, there's the music with the Genesis. The music too was always something I really enjoyed about this game. So we can punch, we can jump. I think that's really all you can do. And then you just kind of run and fight things. Don't go in the well. That's a trick. You can't go in there right now. Don't go in the well. But I'm going to be quiet for a minute because the sound on this sounds really good. But you can see, like, everything about this is just so weird. Like, what is all this stuff? Who am I? Why am I running through this forest and field to do whatever. I don't know yet. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, the graphics aren't as good as the Amiga version. Sound isn't as good, but it's still, the gameplay seems exactly the same. Like, what is that? Why is there a bloody crab claw looking thorn thing coming out of the ground? I don't know, but I want to know because this game seems awesome. And I actually have it for the Sega Genesis, so I'm really happy that I got it, and it seems to be working great. Oh, floating eyeballs, why? Right, these creatures, what was that? Looks like I don't even know. I don't know. Plant thing with a trumpet on its head, but it seems to be working perfect. Oh, hands now. And wasps. Hands and wasps. Whatever, just coming at us. Although the sound chip may be not as good as the Super Nintendo, it's definitely its own thing, and you can recognize it from like any system. Well, that's what I got from RU Game, and once again, thank you so much to everybody, all the employees, the manager, everybody who works there for letting me come in and, you know, shoot around and record some of their stuff. Had a great time as always, and I know that I'll visit again. You may be wondering why I got a Nintendo game, Super Nintendo game, and controllers if I don't have any way to play them. Well, this is the start of something big for me. I've decided to start collecting physical media. Not collecting in the sense that I'm trying to just get everything for a specific system, but I'm going to buy the games that I wanted for those systems that I didn't get to have as a kid because I didn't have a lot of games growing up. I would always borrow games from my friend, or we'd rent a lot of games on the weekend. Now that I'm older and I'm able to, I'm going to start getting those games that let me relive those memories from years ago. And I'm starting with what I have now from RU Game with Shadow of the Beast, Time Lord, and Warlock. And the 3 other games that I got from there too, the Caesar's Palace, Revolution X, and Bassmasters Classic. I actually have 4 Genesis games now, which I think is like more than I had when I was a kid. I ended up getting this used Genesis and maybe like 3 or 4 games for it, I don't know. But I'm having so much fun getting all these games that I remember having as a kid and playing them on these systems, which leads me to my next thing. I need to figure out a system that I can use to play these other games. And I do eventually want to get the original hardware, but until then I may go a different route just so I have something to record on my system here. But we're going to talk about that in a video coming up very soon about clone consoles and which ones you should get depending on your budget and things like that. That's going to be a fun video, I think. I'm going to try and make it very informative. If you're in the Tampa area, please visit RU Game. Everybody there is awesome. They have really great deals and great prices. As always, you guys have been great. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is the part of the video where I thank those users who support the channel through YouTube memberships and Patreon. Eric Cologne, Jordy Alex, Mike Muniz, Sam Torres, Dor, Yaroslav Orudzov, Den Cardoso, Andre G, Randy Day, Travis Morton, Rick67, and Batman.